While some investors decide to go away in May, Chris Versace from Tematica decided to come right in town to give us the investing scoop for 2018. Chris, nice to have you on the show.
Voz, nice to be back, as always.
Yes, especially in sunny weather. Now, last we spoke, it was rare to have a down day. Why are we struggling to rally even during earnings season?
Well, I think what investors are doing is they're trying to understand exactly what is the prospects for the expectations that were laid out earlier in the year. What do I mean? Coming into earnings season, expectations were for the S&P 500 to deliver 18% earnings growth. Now we're a couple weeks in and we're starting to, see some good earnings, see some misses, see some companies guide lower. We're also seeing companies like Caterpillar say, we think margins might have peaked because of rising costs. With Cat, it's commodities and steel. But what I think is happening is people are starting to rejigger those earnings expectations. So we're in a period of digestion.
Well, we've noticed in the FANG stocks, while they reported, we get a little boost, but not a prolonged rally. What are your expectations with Apple tonight?
Apple. Well, I think first and foremost, I think everybody's going to be watching Apple. There's been a lot of chatter about what's happening with iPhone X. We've seen numbers getting cut. To me, it's not only a question of the numbers getting cut, but what's the guidance on the revenue mix? Because remember, Apple's got a portfolio of iPhone products, all with different price points. So we want to try and understand, based on the limited guidance that Apple will give, is the iPhone X, does it still have legs and what we're hearing is wrong? Or is what we're hearing from Samsung, Taiwan Semiconductor, and others that are seeing softness in high-end demand phones, or is that really what's going to happen? And it looks like it is. So the real question then becomes, how big does Apple upsize its capital return program? And the numbers are all over the map, from $100 billion to over $300 billion.
So what will we be listening for in the conference call this evening?
Well, without a doubt, like I said, it's going to be understanding what prospects are for the iPhone and those ASPs. That is the profit generator for the company. So it's core, but how big is the saving grace of this capital return program? And what's the blend between dividends and repurchase? That's really what I think everybody wants to see.
Well, hopefully Apple's earnings don't bite, but the action will not stop there. We're going to hear from the Fed tomorrow. Do you think this is the proper course of policy, since they're on a rate hike roll, it seems like?
Well, you have to remember, the big question is not are they on a rate hike, right? I can't even say what you just said, a rate hike roll, but is it 3 or 4? That's the big question. And coming out of the Fed's last meeting, they seem to be of a mixed mind, with 3 winning out barely over 4 rate hikes. But what's happened since then? We've started to get a lot more data that shows, the economy continues to grow, but inflation is picking up. Whether it's, again, that comment I shared earlier about Caterpillar and others that are talking about that, the PCE price index is now, for the second month in a row, on a year-over-year basis, above the Fed's 2% target. And then even this morning in the ISM composite PMI report, both on the manufacturing and the services side, if you parse the details, far more robust levels of pricing.
Well, Chris, I love how you identify the economic and market landscape to find the survival of the fittest in this environment. So who's the beneficiary?
Who's the, who's the, out of those comments, long term, do we like Apple? We do. We see their devices extremely sticky, probably getting only stickier as they move into content, but there's other companies that are still benefiting from the environment. The one that we absolutely like at Tematica, because it's what we say is the thematic poster child, is Amazon. And Amazon's had a huge run year to date. We continue to see favorable data as as consumers continue to shift over towards digital sales. But remember, it's Amazon Web Services that generates the bulk of the company's profit. And there is a Pentagon contract that is being privatized for something like 3.7 million users, 4 million devices, and 1,700 data centers. And that's expected to be rewarded by September. Amazon is in a very good position to pick that up, and that's all incremental business, multi-year, for their most profitable business. So I'm looking at things like that say these companies that have run can continue to run.
Those are some big numbers you pointed out. And before we went on, one of our viewers even said, I can't wait to hear I want Chris to spill the beans. So then you did. So then I have to ask you about coffee, of course, since I know you're a big coffee fan, especially of Peet's. Yep. Where do you like to get it? In stores, or can you trust an online retailer like Amazon?
Where do I get my coffee? It actually is usually Peet's, although today was, what was it? Gregory's, right? today. We went to Gregory's today, and they've got some pretty cool drinks that we want to take a look at. This almond chai thing, cappuccinos. I mean, it sounds pretty good. But can you buy your beans? I buy beans and grind them. So yeah, I'm sure I could get them on Amazon or elsewhere for that matter.
All right, awesome. Well, again, thank you for spilling those beans, Chris. It was so nice to have you spill the scoop for 2018, and we hope to have you on later this year whenever you're in town.
Maybe in 2 weeks.